12. Good morning. These are the 15 fastest growing careers across the world on a percentage basis. How fast the demand for workers in these fields will grow for the next 5 years. 12 of these 15 careers are in high tech. The only exceptions are truck drivers and environmental and clean energy engineers. Workers in all these other fields and the companies that hire them, they need to be close to AI data centers. The fastest growing jobs are in AI and robotics. Our problem, though, is that AI and robotics need a lot of electricity to make them go. We don't have enough electricity, and we cannot produce much more anytime soon. China has neither problem, so these jobs and the companies will be moving here. The hopes were high and at the highest levels. Stargate is the massive $500 billion project that was announced by President Trump in the White House just a few days after he started working there. There in the photo is the head of SoftBank, the head of Oracle, and the head of OpenAI, or ChatGPT. As soon as Stargate was announced, experts crunched the numbers and realized it was already in trouble. The Pentagon said that there isn't enough energy in the United States to support the project. It doesn't matter how much money there is, $100 billion now with another $400 billion down the road. It doesn't matter how many hundreds of thousands of American jobs are on the line. It doesn't matter that the president wants it, along with these companies here with a jillion more dollars to spend. The only thing that does matter is the bottleneck for power. Electricity is already scarce, and here the Defense Department is asking who should have access to the data once it's generated, and how to manage the problem of blackouts, which are coming. Those questions don't have easy answers. It represents the most underrated challenge of all. The Pentagon is trying to make some progress on the power generation problem. A new test site in Idaho to build and test a new small nuclear reactor. They hope to have a demonstration test next year, and this will be the first small reactor built outside of China. The Chinese are already way ahead on nuclear, and they're already commercializing small nuclear reactors. So the lack of power is the problem, and companies and investors are already backing down from their growth plans of just a few months ago. They have yet to complete a single deal. SoftBank was one of the key investors who agreed back in January to spend $100 billion immediately, but now they figure they'll be lucky if they can get even just one small data center done, built hopefully by the end of this year, probably in Ohio. SoftBank is unhappy at how slowly things are going, and Oracle investors probably shouldn't be counting their chickens quite yet from their agreement with OpenAI. Or deal worth $30 billion a year. Doing the math on that means that OpenAI needs to find, or build new, the equivalent power generation for 4 million homes. Then, that deal is 3 times more than the company books as revenues currently. So this is a huge gamble that ChatGPT and the other American AI systems will be affordable enough that they will attract tens of millions of paying customers for technology that's free for most users now. But that the prices will be high enough that they can make enough profits for people at SoftBank to be happy. All that, and that enough new power sources can be built and turned on. That's the urgent concern right now. Big tech companies are sucking down more and more power, and there isn't any new power coming. Ireland threw open their doors to the data center industry a few years ago, and now the data centers there burn more electricity than all the urban housing in the whole country. Companies like Amazon, Google, Facebook, Microsoft, and TikTok now use 21% of Ireland's electricity, and now there's not enough to keep the lights on for everyone else. Ireland's regulators shut down new data center construction for the next 3 years. Amazon had plans to open a new €300 million plant in Ireland, but cannot get electricity for it, so they shut the project down. Microsoft is pulling the plug on their projects in Indonesia, the UK, Australia, and in a handful of US states. Power supply is a problem for Microsoft's data centers too. Remember this point from this Pentagon official. The power demand problem is really tricky. If in Ireland they're worried about rolling blackouts, power cut off to houses, restaurants, stores, schools, hospitals, while it's still flowing for Google and Facebook, that will become a political problem fast. Soon, national elections in Ireland will be won or lost based on whoever promises to flip that relationship around. In the United States, we've got the same problem. The CPI is the inflation index for consumer prices. And as bad as general inflation has been since 2018, electric bills are increasing even faster. That is going to continue. Electricity prices will run higher than inflation through next year at least. Everyone everywhere is seeing higher bills with double-digit increases in most of the country, but it's especially bad on the West Coast and on the Atlantic seaboard from Virginia to the Canada line. For business users, it's even worse. A pizza restaurant in New Jersey is an example. Their electric bill doubled, even though their use was up just slightly. Now the state Senate in New Jersey is finding out how much of an impact these data centers are having on everyone's power bills. About a quarter of Americans are cutting back on other necessities, food and medicine, in order to pay higher power bills. The solution to that is more supply, so we can push prices down, but serious issues everywhere there. Supply chain problems and shortages of everything we need to maintain the electric grid at present levels, let alone build new. Prices are blowing out, and we have severe backlogs on natural gas turbines, which are needed to build new natural gas-fired power plants. Same story on transformers. We need tens of millions of new transformers just to replace the old ones, and we can't get those either. It's a problem across the entire grid. The grid expense is rising, and nobody knows what the answer is. We're also seeing a crunch in transmission of high voltage power. In the United States, about 2,000 miles per year of high voltage transmission about a decade ago. Then it dropped to just 700 miles per year recently. And in 2023, only 55 miles of transmission. Recently, a new project of 800 miles was canceled. So not much is getting built. New demand is rising fast, and so electric utilities are raising prices. Nationwide, they have requested over $18 billion in rate increases, most of which will hit consumer markets this year. The system is already under heavy strain, and these are new energy products that are pending permitting and construction, a total of 2,600 gigawatts of electricity. That is more than twice what the United States produces now. These are projects that still need the supply chains fixed, nuclear reactors built, natural gas turbines manufactured and installed, and the electric grid upgraded. New supply won't come for years, but the new power demands for AI are hitting right now and will double by 2030. Just keeping up with that means we need to more than triple the capacity of our transformers. The big tech industry faces major challenges by everybody everywhere. The problems faced by researchers racing to build nuclear reactors like the Pentagon, and by grid managers like in Ireland, by tech companies like Amazon, by investment funds like SoftBank, and by pizzerias like the one in New Jersey, and by politicians who are being yelled at because there isn't enough electricity to go around. In China, though, these problems don't exist. Electricity production is booming. Electricity prices are falling and not rising. There are no order backlogs for hardware for the power grids. Industry analysts believe that the cost of AI will eventually converge to the cost of electricity. Before that, though, we need electricity. That means that these entire industries, big data, fintech, machine learning, data warehousing, IoT, these AI and robotics industries will be in China, and it won't cost very much. This is Guangzhou. Be good.
Are empowered to go and make disciples of this nation and all nations. Thank you for sending your Son, Jesus, to die for us and to live for us. We bind up the evil spirits of Islam, of Hinduism, of atheism. We call your spirit to come down and replace. In Jesus' name.